puddles under their feet, and the asphalt drinks what it can. Becomes the spine bone circus, the tailbone scrape, the razored elbow, the ripping skin, whatever was pink inside, whatever thrummed, whatever pulsed got a good dragging. Miles and miles of bone meal, the road was a wolf. It knew it had been. The white boys bayed at the dawn limp moon. James Byrd can't hush the burning. He's pulled behind the pickup truck, chains biting ankle bone to shrapnel. He's trying to latch his chin to his chest. He can hear his daddy tell him, keep your head, man, keep your head. And he's trying. The white boys don't stop the bloodletting. It is their favorite kind of music. A ticker tape of soft tissue. They hit a culvert, the steel pipe crescendo, and the all-over heat went out. The road licked the severed limbs clean, the blood-bone ritual of unholy. The white boys bayed at the moon. They laughed and spilled their beer, foam settled in their whiskers. They say this is how you talk politics in Texas. A chain, a black boy, a bludgeoning. Take a deep breath, it's okay. It's okay. This next and last poem is our home poem. It's born out of a writing exercise that asks you to draw a roadmap to the places that you grew up, places that hold memory for you, precedent-setting memory for you, right? And we're constantly in conversation about how there's so many more poems that we could write with that same writing exercise, right? So you want to talk about places that held a first. That's where I, rode my bike for the first time without training wheels.
That's where I had my first fight.
And 2954 Claremont Street, Denver, Colorado, 80207.
No.
About 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Her name was Tanisha Campbell.
Government.
She had on a yellow sundress.
Stop.
Cornrows.
Stop.
Beads at the end.
I can get it.
She was trying me, see? I said, okay, Tanisha, I'm gonna meet you at 2 o'clock. It's fine, we're Facebook friends now. Here we go. She started at 2 o'clock. That's when you scheduled, scheduled them butt whoopings. 2 o'clock, me and you, black top. Okay? All right, I missed that. You couldn't get anywhere in my neighborhood without walking by Granny Pfeiffer's house. A coral peeling weathered flat that looked like dessert cake. And white frosting awnings sugared in decay, and then crabapple trees that spilled them fat bitter bulbs on the lawn that she religiously watered once in the morning and again at dusk, shuffling out the house in pink sponge rollers and corduroy house shoes made for a man with the heel pressed down and flat. Still, she would sit up straight, white lace glove, yes ma'am, delicious.
You couldn't move anywhere around my house without greeting all the old Spanish ladies. No mama has to get in the living room.
All right.
And no one ever made appointments. These women were too close for those kinds of commitments, dressed in their floral nightgowns.
Sábado Gigante
was an evening ritual, the background music to women whose business it was to be in other people's business. Only pausing their Ave Maria
No me diga
to
eso.
sip their cafecitos. In this house, women sat close enough to touch each other's knees, made sancocho out of laughter, see they knew how necessary it was to fill a space and how often they'd been drowned by their own silence.
If you wanted to get to the corner store in my neighborhood, you had to go by my friends Binky and Bunky's house.
Real names.
Real names. It was a real name. A red brick ranch-style home that kept its secrets pushed behind painted and repainted white screen door with that inevitable beehive stuck just above it. Everything about that house had a sting. But all fried, everything, all the time, everything. Oxtails, chicken legs, peppered and salted just right till your lips smack wetly to walk by. Except you ain't never just walked by.
Can I get a plate?
No, you stopped in. You set your shoes by the door. You listened for the rumble, said yes please to sweet potato pie, and maybe got your hair pressed out. If Miss Susie felt like climbing in to tackle the bramble and quiet your brush fire locks.
In this house, I learned how wide a family can be, how it can wrap its arms around your waist in the tin foil of hot empanadas Irma dropped down from the 18th floor, how all these women were my abuelas and tias, how they gave me bendición. These were the I wish you would women, the I'm gonna be as loud as I wanna be women, the you look bien gorda women, the you look bien flaquita women. There ain't nothing good these women.
No.
Women whose hearts were big and whose hands were rough, whose kitchen counters clean and mouths dirty
When they needed to be, yeah.
Here, you learn about the community that women can hold for one another and how a living room can become a bridge.
All right, now, if you wanted to get to the playground in my neighborhood, you had to go by Richard's house.
Dang.
All right, as a dude with no conscience.
No. And no intention of coming into one, his mama was a Sunday school teacher, you know, for the irony. He didn't have a dad. All the worst boys in Park Hill didn't seem to have a daddy, just dirty words and hands. Now, you couldn't get anywhere on Saturday morning in my neighborhood at all. I'm gonna talk about it, unless you hid from Jehovah's Witnesses.
You're gonna talk about it.
Because they were coming early.
Early.
Very early. Too early in the morning. These sisters in pastels, peddling redemption. With no real roadmap, because it meant I wasn't going to get to cuss the way I need to. So, you do what any normal person does when they knock on the door early in the morning. You hide behind the couch. Wait for them to leave and go over to the next door house and not get in there either. They never did seem to get in. And maybe that's why it took God so long to find you, because you were ducking and running from everything, even yourself. But it was going to take you years to know that.
You wanted to have your first kiss. You picked the boy with the soft hands. Used your 16th birthday as an excuse so your friends would stop teasing you about being a late bloomer and to prove to yourself that you were broken after all. But you were still the same girl before as you were after. Your mouth, no tree house for boys to find themselves in, but you kept trying, figuring one day you might start working. When you gave in to what you really wanted, you opened up your lips wider than you ever thought possible and tilted your neck toward the heaven of your best friend's mouth. And all the music started to settle into their bones, because this in fact was your first kiss. The one your mama talked to you about. The one that missed all the pixie dust but kept all the magic.
Listen, if you want to have your first kiss in my neighborhood, you just did it. In the alley behind that one fast girl's house whose mama smoked camels and was never home to catch her kids doing nothing. Oh, you leaned hard. You leaned into your galloping walk, and then you waited. You waited for a messy exchange that sent saliva down your jawbone. But you wore eyeliner after that.
Yes, you did.
Thought you knew what a woman was. Thought you knew you wanted to be one. Back alleys are not the right places for that kind of clarity.
Probably not.
But you held on to it. Because that's what you do.
There's nothing else to hold.
When there's nowhere else to go, when the place you are is the only thing telling you what you will become, you hold on to it.
You hold on to it.
And you call it home. Thank you guys.